Okay, back again. Slight variation of what I just said. Straxus did make a clone, but that wasn't the one he was trying to manipulate. I am so sorry. The actual thing that transpires is after the battle between Optimus Prime and the transport bridge, the real Megatron is transported to Cybertron, where Straxus tries to take over his mind. He fails, so this Megatron is left slightly insane. He's got two minds in one body, so he rambles off. So we'll take it for that. What it is Straxus made a clone. He tried to take over the body of Megatron, but he actually made a clone as well out of a standard trooper, which has been sent to Earth. And after a battle, Shockwave gets hold of this clone, reprograms it to do his own bidding. Now, because the Time Wars are going on at the moment, this clone Megatron, believing himself to be the real one, as do the readers at this point in the comics, because we can't see ahead, can we, of how the story's going, tries to make friends with Galvatron, and he thinks he can see an ally in him. And for the time being, it does seem to work out. Why this other Megatron is not quite sure what he's doing. So this battle goes on with Galvatron and Megatron in partnership in the Time Wars. Now, it comes to a crescendo where Galvatron has just gone utterly and totally insane with the idea that there's Megatron there, he's looking at me and I'm Galvatron, can I exist if Megatron doesn't, and can I blast him and will he still be there, and is he mutant? It's very complicated because Straxus is worried, because the Time Wars are going, not Straxus, Shockwave, thank you, Shockwave is worried that they will usurp his authority at this present time because he's in command of the Decepticons on Cybertron. Ooh, that's difficult. But Galvatron comes to his end, and then we're left now with the slightly crazy Megatron and the clone who thinks he is Megatron. Now, it comes to a head where they take each other on. And Straxus tries, what's left of the implants of the memory, tries to jump from one to the other. Now, the clone's seeing that this might be a potential threat, and it's not going anywhere. They have to make a choice. There's only going to be one Megatron. So, eventually, the real Megatron does kill the clone Megatron. Okay? The real Megatron kills the clone. But this Megatron is left then wondering, am I Straxus or am I Megatron? I'm not quite sure. And that's how that continues on that storyline for the time being. Now, there's another storyline. Now, the inevitable end of Megatron in the comics to start off with is there's no Decepticons much, no Autobots. Megatron commands Ratchet to start rebuilding them into pretender forms. It starts to happen, he starts to get them going, and it comes to a head where Ratchet locks himself in a room with Megatron and blasts the thing up, killing them both. Also, we think. What actually happens is, it puts them through some temporal flux, time warp, Star Trek-y thing, and they merge together. So Megatron's quite an unlucky fella, isn't he? So, there's this slightly distorted, horrible mess of half Megatron, half Ratchet merged together. Quite hideous. That's not a pleasant way to go for both of them, is it? Not too cool anyway, but that's how that storyline pans out. And on the earlier comic line, going right back to the beginning of Megatron when he takes on Optimus Prime, which I forgot to mention, I wish I had, but I'm going to now anyway. There's a match that Megatron and Optimus Prime play on the computer, and guess what? Megatron cheats. You know what the actual prize is for failing? You have to destroy yourself. The good old Optimus Prime blows himself up. I'm not going to the storyline on how they get him back. Needless to say, that was so stupid. There we go. So, that's what happens with Megatron. It's just a brief run-up of how the comic continuity runs in comparatively speaking to how the cartoon one runs, which is a lot simpler. Needless to say, I think Megatron's a better character than Galvatron, and I much preferred him. Now, as we know, with his fusion cannon, he harnesses the power, I think it is, of a black hole. Now, it's quite a risky thing for him, because it drains him of all his power if he uses that particular attack, and it leaves him quite vulnerable in the middle of battle, so he doesn't use it very often. He usually transforms into a gun and allows Starscream to shoot him. I don't know why. Another good one I thought I'd mention in the comic run is it gets stuck as a gun. So that's not too cool, is it? Anyway, look, I'll show you a bit about the toy now, because I've talked enough. As I said, the Generation 1 toy, as I said, it's prone, that bit's missing there. They're not a particularly well-balanced toy. I mean, you either have the legs really like that or really close together. And none of them do him justice. As we know, he's from another toy line. I think it was either Micro Man or Diaclone. I can't recall now. And there's another variation of him. I think they did 3 guns. Megatron was the one who got to be, well, Megatron. He was the one chosen. But there was another one called Browning. Now, I know it's not a particularly impressive name, but I must admit, I think the toy possibly was better than the Megatron toy. You won't see it very often. I was bidding on one, and unfortunately I lost it. It's very similar transformation to these. They do practically the same thing, but he has his hands come off. He's a little bit more fiddly to transform, but he is a nice toy. And as we all know, the gun thing, it's all banned now, apart from the latest Classics Megatron, which they've released, which transforms into sort of Buck Rogers laser gun type thing. So that's fine. Because I'm going to kill lots of people doing that, aren't I? There you go. I can understand the laws. They're there for everybody. I can't argue with it. I can actually. Shall I? Yeah, won't bother. No time for that. Anyway, I hope that was a little bit of insight to Megatron. I hope I didn't get too confusing. And I hope I've tied up some loose ends for it. Needless to say, there is an end between the merging of Wheeljack and Megatron. But I'm not going to tell you. So you're going to have to find that one out yourself. Oh, you stinker. There we go. Okay, that's Megatron review. Hopefully done to some justification and credit to the toy and the character. So that's Starscream signing off. Hope the review was some help, and I'll see you all out there.
In a hostile place, I hear your face start to call.